Hello and welcome back to CodeBlaze. So last time in our quest to create color switch in Godot, we created the trap which will keep on rotating infinitely, and we also added the collision detection logic. So if we enter some different color, we get signaled game over. But if the color is same, no game over is signaled. Okay. So currently we just have one trap, and before making this game infinite, we need to implement some more gameplay logic. That is adding some pickables. And if you see the assets folder, we have two pickables, the star and the switch. So the star upon collection would increment the player's score, and we will just display the score as part of a UI. And a main gameplay loop would be basically be getting the highest score possible, and the switch on pickup will basically change the current color of the player. So let's get started. So we'll start by creating separate scenes for our pickup, and these scenes are going to be very simple. So for the star scene, let's just create a new scene here, call it star. Okay. And for the root, we will be using area 2D, as again pickups will be something that we want collision information on, so that whenever our body or the player enters this, we can destroy it and take the corresponding action. Let's say other node and take area 2D, right? And we'll need to give it a shape also, but before that we'll add a sprite. And you can use a color node here also if you want to modulate the color, but we'll choose the basic sprite here and just drag the star texture. Okay. And add the circle shape, uh, collision shape 2D. Okay, and to this we'll give it a circle shape 2D. So let's edit that, zoom in a bit, and I think 50 would be the correct radius. Yeah, so you can definitely increase the radius, but this much pop out is fine for me. So this would be our star. Let's rename that star. And similarly, we'll create one more scene for our switch. Let's just get the scenes out of the way, then we can implement the logic. So our another scene would be the switch. And we do the same thing here, area 2D, name this to switch, add a sprite to it. We'll drag the switch SFG here. Again, need a collision shape 2D and circle shape. Let's edit it. And again, the radius would be 50. 50 would be perfect radius for this because this image is 100 by 100 pixels. So with these two scenes created, we can start by adding the scripts that will define the logic for our pickups. So now that we have our scenes for our pickups created, we'll be creating a simple script which will represent a pickable object. And we'll be using this, reusing the script in both of our pickables. So let's create a new script. And this will inherit from area 2D. Let's select it here, area 2D, since that's the base node for both of our objects. And we'll just call it pickup. Okay, let's create it and open it. Okay. So now what the pickable will basically do is on body enter, right? It will have to basically, what do you say, call an action on the body that has entered, because our player would be the one that's entering it. So it will be calling an action, and now this action would be configurable in the editor. So let's do that. We'll export a variable called action, and this would be a string. Okay. Next, we want the ability to be able to deactivate this. So instead of destroying the pickable once we enter it, we will basically be deactivating it. And why we are deactivating instead of destroying is something that we'll be covering in the next video when we'll try to make this game infinite. So for now, just keep in mind we are deactivating the current pickable object. So to do that, we'll need to call the hide or show method, and also we'll need to deactivate the collision. So to interact with the collision, we first need to get hold of it. We'll put on ready var collision, and let's set it to the collision shape 2D. To that kind of set. Since we haven't added this script to anything, we are not getting the proper autocomplete here. But this is what this is going to be, collision shape 2D. Okay, and let's just verify it also. So to our switch, we'll add this script and we'll get the collision shape 2D, and also to our star. Okay, now if I go back to the editor, I should be able to get this. Yeah, collision shape 2D. Then we need to connect to the collision. So this time we can do it from the editor only. So let's take our star and go to the node. We'll take body entered, connect, and we'll say on body entered only. Just remove the star here. Okay, connect. So we get our function here and our node. And yeah, this can be node only, and just return void. Okay. So we'll do the simple check here if the body has a method. Okay. So we'll do if body dot has method, and the method name is action that we'll configure in the editor. So if the body has this method, we'll call this method. So body dot call action. Okay. And finally, we need to call set active as false. So let's do that. Set active, and we'll call it as false. Now this set active function currently doesn't exist. This is something that we'll define. So now we'll declare this method. So func set active. So this method will basically allow us to toggle between active and inactive state. We'll take a state which will be a bool. This will again return void. And so if the state is true, then we show, else we do a hide. Okay, so this will basically toggle the visibility, and to toggle the collision, we'll say collision dot set deferred. Because interaction with the physics engines, it's better to defer them to the physics process. That's why we do a deferred call, and we'll be changing the disabled property. So since we are changing the disabled property, we'll need to not the state. So we'll just do not state. So what not does is basically inverses the Boolean. So when we say set active as true, then the disabled will be set as false. And when we say set active false, disabled would be set to true. Okay. So with this, we have the logic done for our pickup. So next, go to our editor and define the actions. So for our star, the action would be increase score. So inc score. And for our switch, the action would be color switch. Okay. Now these actions will need to be defined in our player, and that's what we are going to do next. So let's open our player script. Let it go. And we'll define those two functions here. The func increase score. Okay, and increase score is going to be a pretty simple thing. We'll basically maintain a score here. Let's assign it to 0, and we'll just say score plus plus. Okay, and we'll signal the score increment also. So once we implement the UI, we'll be firing a signal from here so that our UI also gets updated. So we'll just put a comment here for now, signal UI. Next, we'll need to implement the color switch. Color. Okay, so the color switch logic is going to be tricky. So we can't just simply assign a new random color, because every time the color switches, there is a probability that the random color could be the same as current color. So to avoid that, we'll be doing some math magic, which I can easily explain here. So let's name these parts or these four quadrants as 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And let's assume that the current color is yellow. So the index would be 1. And when we hit the switch, we have three possibilities of the next color, either this, or this. So that means we need to decide a random number between 0 and 2, or 1 to 3. Okay. So suppose, let's say the random number is decided as 1. So we'll add that 1 to the current color. So next color would be purple. If it's 2, it will add to here and we'll get 3. So the 3 is the current, this blue color. But if the random number is decided as 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Now 4 is something that's outside the index. So what we'll do is modulus it by the size of the colors array. So it will again come as 0. So this way we'll be able to always get a random color that is not same as the current color. So if you don't get this by the explanation, let's see the implementation, and then you can decide whether you understand this or not. Okay. So first we'll need to calculate the shift. That would be the random, what would be the next random color. That is a random value between 1 and 3. But since we work in zero base indexes, we'll be calculating it between 0 and 2. Let's do that. Var shift equal to random of integers. Okay. And to get a value between some specific range, we know we have to do a modulus operation. So let's do a modulus operation. And this modulus operation will always be by size of colors array minus 1. So we'll do color node dot colors dot size minus 1. So since we have 4 colors, the next, so we'll get 3 here. So we'll get a random value between 3 numbers. Okay. Now that we have our shift, we can compute the new color. So the new color is going to be nothing but current color plus shift and plus 1, since our shift is going to be from 0 to 2. Okay, that's why we need to add that 1, because if shift comes out as 0 and we just add it to the current color, nothing is going to happen. So we'll take color node dot current color plus shift plus 1. And so that this new color remains in our range, we'll modulus it by the size of colors array. Again, that would be color node dot colors dot size. Okay, now this will give us a new color, and all we need to do is set the color node's color. So to do that, again we call the color node, and we have a setter defined. So set current color, and we'll just pass in the new color here, new color. Okay, so with this we have both our actions defined. So let's go and add our traps, our pickups, sorry. But for now we'll be adding the pickups to our trap scene. We'll open our trap scene and we'll drag the star here. Okay, so star is something that can remain in the center, and we'll drag our switch also, and we'll transform this on y, say minus 600. Yeah, or it's minus 800. Well, we'll play with this value again. So what we'll do is we'll create more and more traps, and I think it's minus 800. Let's keep it at minus 800 because that distance seems fair for now. So let's go back to our main scene and you'll see we have a star and switch also. So let's duplicate this trap. Trap 2's transform, we'll put it at minus 3000. Yeah. And traps 3 transform, we'll put it at minus 5000. That would be here. I think we can improve the switch distance to minus 1000. Go to our main scene. Yeah, now it's in the middle. So we have 3 traps here, and let's see our logic works. Also, we won't be able to see the score increments right now, so we'll just print it. Print the score since we don't have UI in place. Okay. So let's see if it works or not. So I'll hit play. It dropped from the screen. We still see our game over and we get score 1. Now we hit here. Okay, nothing is happening here. Why is that? I think we haven't connected the signal. So let's go to the node. On body entered is connected here, but for our switch, on body entered is not connected. Yeah, we should have done this through code only. So anytime if you have some reusable script, it's better to do it through code, but so that you don't need to set up this in editor. We'll do it here only. Since on body entered is already defined, we'll take that. Okay. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and play again and see if our switch works. So these kinds of errors happen. You just need to know what to do when to debug them. So again, our score is printed as 1 and our color has changed. Score is printed as 2. Again, the color changed. This time, let's go through the correct color and we have get the score of 3 and each time our color got changed. So now we have all the gameplay logic that's required for color switch built in. All we need to do is now put the UI, make this game infinite, and have some starting and ending screens. So that's what we'll be covering up in the upcoming episodes. If you like this series and if you have any other suggestions, please do leave them down below in the comments. Also leave a rating, share with your friends. It really means a lot to me. I want this channel to grow, and subscribe for the upcoming content. Thanks and bye.